Okay, so it is 2 o'clock in the morning, and just to note, the neighbor that lives not right next door, but in back, the one that sits around and waits, who I would bet every penny I have has come in here and stuck his penis inside my anus and my vagina as much as he possibly can, which would be daily for a while there. Um, they usually put their lights off by 10, and he still had his lights on. This happens to coincide with the fact that I called 911 because literally I'm sitting here watching my animals just be sick and just feel like shit and just breathing in this stuff, and it just gets to be a lot. You just want to like not breathe it in. And it just starts to feel very like just crazy. I mean, look at my eyes. Look at my fucking eyes. I mean, I'm like, the moment I walked in, the heater blasted on. So I called 911, and guess what? I was told that they were told not to respond to my address, that they're not going to send police officers to my address. I'm I mean, it's like without words, seriously, because in Hawaii, as corrupt as it was, I mean, going all the way up to pretty high levels of government with the organized crime connections and everything, they wouldn't try this. They would not. There's no way. That's like a total violation. I mean, that's giving criminals, and without any, like, they haven't even tried to investigate what I'm saying. They won't let me do a rape kit. Like, without any proof that I'm not telling the truth, without any investigation, if not without anything, they're gonna knock out my ability to call 911. And it's not like I've called every night, you know? And I'd call every night, I'd call every day, I'd call all day, all night, because literally there's crimes happening here all day and all night. It's assault to be drugged. Hey, kitty. You okay? Kitty's having a hard time. So I could literally call, and I've called like a handful of times. And I could call all day and all night. And I don't. And, because I know. I mean, I can't be like. But yeah. That's crazy. That's how much pull they have. The entire Van Nuys department. In fact, bigger than that, because when I went outside the Van Nuys department, then a cop pulled up. He was sitting across the street. I mean, it just felt like so like training day. Like I was like, shit, you know? It's dangerous. It's scary. It's weird. It's like, then the helicopter flew over, and I'm just thinking, are they all on the same page? Like, are they all on like, I'm gonna help a drug trafficker and sex traffickers like that rape and sodomize and torture somebody and drug them 24/7? Like, am I living in like that's crazy. Scary. It's really scary. Like 12 years of this, and there's been a handful of times where I've been just like, holy fuck, wow. This is definitely one of those times. Like, again, there's just no fucking words, man. Like, there's no fucking words to be able to prevent somebody from calling 911. Like, it's not like I've been wasting their resources or calling them all the time, or it's not true. So, you know, I mean, for me, it's an obvious thing saying that what I'm saying is true. I mean, it's like, because you so want to prevent me from being able to have proof or evidence, or, you know, that you're willing to do that. And that to me says a lot. You know, yeah, it shows their connections and their ability, their power, and how sincerely fucked the people of Los Angeles are. Like, sincerely fucked. Um, wow. But I mean, I'm in a little bit of shock over it. I know. I think they've definitely not liked the last, I think it's only been 3 days that I've been staying awake until 5. I mean, she still gets a hold of me for a couple of hours. Um, but they can't sex traffic me as well. They just can't, because it's daytime. And see, I mean, that begs the question, though. It's like, if you have it that well, then you're just solely relying on the fact that I'm the crazy person's story. That's it. Because you're afraid of anybody else saying anything, seeing somebody, you know, a neighbor seeing now, you know, because I put signs out there saying this is what's happening in the home. I put the name Michael Miskey out there so people could look that up, reference it, understand what I'm dealing with, what I'm talking about. So they do fear, like, a neighbor that apparently like lives down the street, because they're not on this corner. Like, they've got this whole fucking corner of where I live. It's nuts. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, this is crazy. Is like, I sit back and I think about how COVID, Trump, even Biden, the Democratic Party, just proving how corrupt they are, and then the insanity of a rapist, crazy person as a president. I mean, both sides just being so. And then a worldwide deadly pandemic. I mean, it just does feel like the world's like falling apart. And then I'm thinking, people don't even know like how fucked up shit is. Like, they'll use this. There's a lot of people living in Los Angeles, single woman living in a nice home in a nice neighborhood. They'll do this to other people. They will. And I mean, the fact that I'm a voice of opposition to these kind of people and people just don't oppose them. I mean, yeah, that makes me a target for sure, but I don't know. You give psychopaths free reign like this, then they just go nuts. I mean, I'm really having a hard time figuring out how to comprehend this situation, like to comprehend that they actually are able to. I mean, it's interestingly enough kind of going back to the whole Dana Ireland murder, because that was one thing that I pointed out, that, yes, she was, you know, run over, backed over, kidnapped, gang raped, sodomized, tortured, left for dead. But how I knew without it really escalating to where it got to, where it became more obvious that it was organized crime, like the hit on Frank Pauline Jr. in the prison in New Mexico, very organized crime, came out within 24 hours of them contemplating opening the case, and they knew he was kind of a talker. So they just decided to take him out, even though he had already spent like over 25 years in prison keeping his mouth shut for them. Guess they didn't really feel like they needed to pay him back for that. So, well, they did. They killed him. Or the witness that ended up dead 10 years after he testified against them. I mean, I didn't even need all that to know it was organized crime involvement. All I needed to know was that the emergency services people took like hours to get there. And I lived on the Big Island, and there's literally like one road that goes around the whole island. And Your police officers there are going to know the island very well, especially whatever their area they work in. They're probably kind of grown up there and know the whole place. And if you have a cop sitting there next to a woman that's dying, there's no way that it should take that long for an ambulance to come. There's just no way. It just never made sense. And the family did win a suit, but they didn't go down that road, and they probably just needed it to be over. And they'd waited 7 years already just for, for it to come to where it did get to. So, and it's just going down such a dark road that it probably was dark enough with what happened to their daughter and sister and stuff. So, but that's what I pointed out. That's how I knew it was organized crime, because that just never made sense. It just defies logic. People could be in a boat and capsize and get rescued faster than the ambulance took to get to her. They waited till she was almost dead, and then they came, so she wouldn't be able to talk. So how I'm saying this is full circle, because now they're preventing my ability to get emergency services. Like, I asked the lady, if I call and somebody's actually in my house, are you still not going to send people? Or is this just, and she's like, if you call about toxic chemicals in your home, then we're not coming. She was more specific, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't make you feel like if they came in here and started raping me, right now, walked through that back door and just started attacking me, that even if I had a phone and I could call 911, that anybody would come. So, super corrupt. Holy fucking shit. I was kind of getting the gist of it when these fucking sex crimes guys were talking to me like they were talking to a person on a sex phone line. They're like, so what is wrong with your vagina? What's wrong with your, it was just crass and rude and disrespectful and just attacking and just nasty. And it was what the fuck? What the hell? You know what I mean? I don't have to say, I'm asking for a rape kit. That's what I'm asking for, I'm not asking to talk to you about the state of my vagina. And as a victim, I have a right to say as much or as little as I want to, and I have rights. I've already been violated. I don't need the police detective that's a sex crimes detective talking to me like I'm a fucking whore he paid for to talk shit to. That's how it felt like. And that's why those two advocates in that room look fucking horrified. Because I know they were just going what the fuck's going on here? These guys are going after this chick, hard. For what? For what? There's no reason. There's no explanation for that, at all. So, oh my God. Every time I think this can't get worse, it does. And right now, there's a small little, I can't even say she's human. She's like a demon right now in my fucking attic, controlling drugs going in my house. And it sounds crazy, but it's actually fucking true. And I've lived with this girl fucking in my homes. It's nuts. Yeah, the fact that I'm still walking and talking and alive it's pretty remarkable. But yeah, this is not a good situation. So, I've kind of always known that there wouldn't be a good end to this because it's been such a rough road so far. But literally right now it's coming into my nose. I'm sitting here in a house paying $5,000 a month to someone who installed a new ducting system as soon as I signed the lease. He installed new little lights on every single on every single one of these. See that glowing light? He said he went around and installed those all brand new for a guy who was like, I'm not going to fix the one plastic fence in the backyard because it's too much for me. He went around and did that. It was a red flag for sure because it just didn't jibe with somebody who is like, I want to do as little as possible, and it just didn't jibe. And it was definitely a red flag that went off in my head that was like, that's weird. And a good place to put a camera. Bad situation.